Hello, this video is here to help you support your child with revision. Even if English is not your first language, even if you don't know the subject your child is studying, you can still help. You don't need to be a teacher or have special knowledge, but you can have a powerful positive effect for your student. It makes such a big difference. So hopefully this video is helpful. It is designed to be short and to the point, so it won't take up too much of your time. And what I'll make sure is that there's a downloaded version where you can click on the links, and that there will be some transcripts available in a range of languages once this is posted as well. So hopefully as many people as possible will be able to benefit from this video. So as I said, it's designed to be short and to the point. So I will crack straight on some of the points you'll be aware of already. Okay, so first one's quite an obvious one. Trying to create space for revision to happen is not always easy. So where possible, please have a distraction-free space dedicated to revision and schoolwork for your student. We also have the study room available at lunchtime, and the libraries available as well at school. Local libraries can also be used at evenings and weekends if you need a separate space to home. There just needs to be somewhere where the young person can concentrate. Other times you might find that shared spaces do work. For example, where you're helping your child revise, you might be able to do that while you're in the kitchen together. It doesn't always have to be complete silence for the student, but there does need to be some space to concentrate somewhere or other. Next tip. Really, really important. You're probably aware of this one as well. Revising little and often is the most effective way to revise. So it is better to spend a shorter time revising than a long time where you're not being effective. So short, regular revision is the way to go. This is why cramming the night before doesn't work. Instead, try this. Revise for 25 minutes. Then take a 5-minute break. You might even pop outside, you might even take some fresh air or just do something different, stretch your legs, and then get back to studying. And you can do that 2 or 3 times in an evening, and you can do that in year 7, 8 or 9 if you're revising at the end of term. It's called the Pomodoro technique if that's useful to know. So little and often. Next tip. One of the most useful things you can do is sit and make a revision plan with your student, particularly if they're coming up to GCSE. So one of the things you want to do is put in the subjects and put in an allocated time to do each subject, and they can tick those off, and that'll be really satisfying. We also can factor in their well-being, so times when they might be resting, spending time with friends and family, and just build in those good habits. It can help them reduce stress because they can see when they're supposed to be working and when they can just enjoy their downtime as well. And this is the bit I think is the most important part of this video. You don't need to teach your young person. You just need to do things like listen while they explain. So these phrases are really useful. Can you teach me this? What is this then? Tell me more about that, or explain this to me. You could ask questions like, does the exam ask for a shorter answer or a longer one? If it's longer, can you expand on that for me, please? Those phrases will be really, really useful. You don't need to know anything about the subject to use those. And then you can use flashcards or notes to help test them and hear their responses to see if information has managed to stick. And just another reminder about well-being, about sleeping well and taking breaks, also really important. Another really important bit of information. So revision doesn't work unless it's active. We've all been there, we've all stared at a textbook or a bunch of notes, and it's not a useful way for that information to go into our brains. So we have to use something called active revision. So they must do something with the information that they've recorded. Using the notes to make mind maps, flashcards, or revision clocks is a really useful thing to do. Mind maps, like the little diagram there in the top left in that group of 3, can help group information so that students can categorize those things in their minds to help them remember. That one's on chemistry there. In the top right there, you can see examples of flashcards. They can be used for testing as well. And what I've done at the bottom of this slide, there is a link to a video that's aimed at students, which helps with making effective flashcards and maximising the use of flashcards. Our students report mind maps and flashcards as their most useful tool. The revision clock in the middle there allows young people to put the information that they might be revising into 12 categories. That's most useful in year 7, 8 and 9, but can be useful for students in other year groups. That's a geography one there. And it's just a good way of recording categories of information. If your child is coming up to GCSE, so from year 9 onwards, I would say looking at past papers is a useful thing to do. There's a link there to the Fairfield Bank, and there are a couple of other links there that are hopefully useful for all subjects. It really helps young people get their head around what they'll be required to do in an exam, because most of our subjects are exam based, or at least include an exam element. Students will need to know the exam board that they are studying. They mostly will know that, but if they're not sure, they can ask their teacher and let you know as well. And it's really useful to see how they will be assessed. So you can look at mark schemes, you can look at example answers. If your student does this in timed conditions, according to the time that's available to them, so some students have extra time, for example, that will help them as well, organising their time. And feeling much more confident when they're tackling papers. So do have a look at those with them. The library are also really good at signposting where to find these, and students often use the library space to look at past papers after school. The next tip is just more general, really. You'll have heard this before in exam advice, but high attendance and good attendance is the most effective tool, really, aside from revision. So students need to be in school learning. That way, when they're revising, it's information that they're already familiar with. It's not completely new, and it takes lots and lots of stress out of that as well. So even if a student has had patchy attendance in the past, it's not too late to ensure that attendance is good. Make sure they're in school enjoying their subjects with their specialist classroom teachers, and that will positively impact their final grades. And we're just keeping our eyes on the prize. So hopefully this video has been helpful. Just an image there of students in the exam halls, but also just that wonderful moment when young people pick up their results in August. We just want to see lots and lots of smiles and students feeling like they've done their best with those results. So thank you very much for listening. Hopefully this was helpful and not too long. And do let me know, it's Farina Racco, and do let me know if you have any further questions about revision or speak directly with your students' class teachers for further information.